Rated M for Movies.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rated M for Movies podcast. My name is Matt, and I'm here talking about a Civil War discussion tonight with my good buddy Conor Jones. Conor.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Okay. All right. We're going to get into full spoilers here, so fair warning if you have not seen Civil War yet. Don't listen to this until you have. Then come back and listen to it, because that'd be awesome. All right. So, Conor, overall thoughts. Just general thoughts. What did you think about it?
Overall, definitely one of the best, if not the best, Marvel films to come out of the cinematic universe. Definitely.
I have to agree. Where would you rank it? Would you say a lot of people would compare it to Winter Soldier? You know, Winter Soldier was the same director, had a lot of same stuff in it. Do you think this is better? Do you think it topped that?
Well, yeah, like you said, same director, the Russo brothers. So I would definitely put it on par with Winter Soldier. Pacing could have been maybe a little bit better in Civil War.
Yeah.
That's why it's more compared to instead of above Winter Soldier in my book, but still phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Winter Soldier and Avengers. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's a combination of the two.
And Avengers 2.5, pretty much.
Avengers 2.5 minus all the unnecessary humor. Joss Whedon. Yeah. All right. That's very cool. Yeah, I liked it a lot though too. I agree. I thought it was kind of weird because they saved a lot of the jokes, actually majority of the jokes, for the big fight, like towards the end.
Absolutely.
Like it's just like, all right, we're gonna be pretty serious throughout the whole movie. And then it's like, bam, some comedy fest. I mean, they have Spider-Man in there, so I guess he helped that a lot. But
I would even say most of the jokes were in serious moments. I mean, there was a few obvious scenes. When Cap and the agent lady, when they kiss.
Oh, sure.
Everything. Basically, any scene with Falcon. Anthony Mackie, the actor, he basically was comedic relief for that whole movie.
Yeah, I like that. Winter Soldier, I love that shit.
But all of Tony Stark's, all of his quips that you would think would be in Avengers, they were in his more serious dialogue moments.
I liked Robert Downey Jr. in this one though. I thought he was interesting what they did with him. It's a different perspective, different kind of take on him than what we've seen before. Yeah,
I really like how we're getting darker with the Marvel movies. We can see with, the film opens up with, that first scene when Tony's talking about his parents and his last moments with them.
Yeah. And
then right after the woman confronting him about her son dying in Sokovia. That definitely set the tone that I think the Russo brothers were looking for with separating themselves from the Joss Whedon type Avengers movies.
Totally, yeah. I mean, they are really taking a darker tone, but it's not like too dark. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people complain the DC movies. I don't mean to shit on DC. I mean, I like Man of Steel and I kind of like Batman v Superman, but that's taking themselves way too seriously at times. Like they try to have a few jokes, and it's like, okay, well, they need to get better writers on board.
And this was, I think Civil War was a perfect example of what the Captain America movies have been, which are stories that aren't necessarily, the Avenger storylines of global catastrophe, but it's a very emotional, very broad story that isn't on a global scale. It's a very personal story between these characters and how the world views them, but not in the sense of the world at risk of being destroyed because of them. I mean, it's still very focused on like Cap and Winter Soldier's relationship there. It's not like, okay, I mean, Tony Stark was in the movie till I guess he was in the beginning, but it was mainly focused around Cap and what he's doing most of the time. I mean, he's definitely a side character. I mean, you could definitely tell Robert Downey Jr. was a side character for the majority of the movie until at the end, but that's pretty much it, honestly. Yeah, and it definitely, I think they did a good job with making Stark, like you said, a side character, but also, with the social media campaign they had, hashtag Team Cap, hashtag Team Iron Man. Yeah. You genuinely felt, at least I thought, that both sides had a really, really strong argument. Yeah. I mean, of course, the one kind of qualm I had with Cap's side is none of them really brought up to, Secretary Ross or any of the other big characters. They're constantly being accused of, people are collateral damage in all of your fights, yada, yada. You need to be put in line.
Yeah.
No one really brings up the issue, though, of if they weren't brought in line and these people weren't, necessary collateral damage, basically, they'd all be dead anyway.
Yeah.
So it's basically save a million at the sacrifice of a few instead of sacrifice everyone and keeping, yourself, I guess, morally pure.
But I mean, yeah, you do see both sides, like you said. It's really it's amazing how they did it. Honestly, it's hard. It's pretty hard to do. Honestly, that's a really good rating if they can pull that off, and I think they did here. Honestly, I think it was pretty good. Yeah. Let's talk about Vision for a little bit and
Vision.
his character. I mean, it's interesting how they used him. I thought for a lot of the movie, especially for like the first 2 acts, he was a lot of comic relief in that too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was in Age of Ultron a little bit towards the end, but it was just like he was just like holy shit character,
Yeah, I almost I think for the magnitude of what Vision is, I feel like Civil War wasn't the best film to really shine a light on Vision.
Yeah.
Especially with those fight scenes, like he has an Infinity Gem in his skull.
Yeah.
He has a cosmic force in his body, and for the character of that magnitude to be fighting basically on par with Black Panther and Scarlet Witch and the rest of the Avengers, it was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And I definitely Paul Bettany's performance, the character itself was awesome.
Oh, yeah. He looks awesome.
But it felt like with the amount of Vision we got as a character in Age of Ultron, with what we had in Civil War, it felt like they had already established him when he wasn't established as an Avenger completely.
Yeah, and he was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. A lot of people were saying like, "Oh, well, Team Iron Man has Vision on their team. Like, Vision's OP as shit. I mean, what do you like? They can't lose." And then you see Scarlet Witch, and she takes control of the Infinity Stone, like in his stone. It's like holy shit.
Yeah,
she's just throwing people around like it's nothing. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, a lot of people. I'm happy they brought up that a lot of people. It's easy to forget that her powers come from an Infinity Gem.
Yeah,
and it's I wouldn't say completely evenly matched to Vision because it's kind of two different powers.
Yeah,
hers is more manipulation, his is more complete power.
Yeah.
But to see them almost on equal terms,
shit's nuts.
they both had their strikes against each other and they both fought each other well.
Yeah. I just remember the scene where she's just throwing people in the airport. It's against trucks. It was like one after another. You're just like, she's a fucking cheat code, man.
Yeah.
like she just threw Black Panther into a fucking like airplane.
And it was, talking about Vision and Scarlet Witch, within the comic book universe, they were married for quite a while until the House of M series when he eventually died.
Yeah.
Comic spoilers if you haven't read that by now. Awesome arc, by the way. But, to see that kind of very subtle chemistry between, like with Age of Ultron, again, kind of praising the Russo brothers for how they directed this. It wasn't like a shoehorned kind of romantic connection. Like with Black Widow and Banner in Age of Ultron at that, arguably way too long farm scene. It felt way too forced that these characters kind of had a spark.
I didn't really understand that, honestly.
It felt like they did it for the sake of having it. And
yeah, because,
with Vision and Scarlet Witch, you could, that scene with them cooking, and then even post-fight, like the big battle, post-fight,
there's
a little bit of subtlety in the fact that they kind of like each other, and Vision's still trying to figure out.
Yeah, they're hinting at it. They're definitely hinting at it. Yeah, that's interesting. But, I don't know. The whole farm scene of Age of Ultron. I just, let me think. What else was there? Let's talk about Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, before we get to Black Panther, what was your favorite hero in the whole movie? What would you say?
Well,
you had to pick.
You know me, Matthew. I'm a Spider-Man fan till death. He's always been my number one, but excluding Spider-Man, because that would be my number one answer.
Let's just say, yeah, because
let's say Spider-Man wasn't in the movie for the 20 minutes he was actually in.
Yeah.
Honestly, I probably have to go with either Winter Soldier or Black Panther. They were probably on par with.
Their fight scenes were fucking sick.
Them fighting each other was some of the best choreographed fighting I've seen in an action movie.
Yeah, Winter Soldier's story, it just keeps on getting more and more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought they were gonna maybe make him into Captain America at the end.
I did too. I was expecting a big death.
Yeah.
We didn't really get that.
Well, I mean, Don Cheadle got paralyzed.
And we lost Don Cheadle's legs.
But I guess.
And I feel like they might.
I feel like
not retcon, but they might fix that. They might find a way.
Cheat like with he has the Iron Man suit,
No Cheadle.
Stop. I feel like they're just gonna like cheat with it, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, Iron Man suit can fix that. You're fine."
Yeah,
you're fine.
Even with by the end of the film, he had Stark Tech on his legs. So I think by if he's not piloting some kind of war machine drone, he'll be back in the suit by Infinity Wars Part 2.
Yeah, Part 2. Yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Infinity War. That's gonna be nuts. Yeah. Okay. Favorite hero was Winter Soldier, Black Panther. I really liked. Captain America is pretty good in this movie. I feel like here's what I don't care for about Captain America. He has a lot of character development and stuff, but he feels the same.
Yep.
And pretty much like everything he's in, like Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. He definitely evolves. I mean, you can even see in 3. I didn't even like Iron Man 3 that much. You can definitely see in Iron Man 3 how he is he got a lot of character development in that. By the end of the movie, what was he? He had his arc reactor. He didn't have to survive off of it anymore. Mm-hmm. That was a huge thing for him. Like Captain America, I mean, he got big and all that shit, and then he sees Bucky, but like he's still like the same. I don't know.
Yeah, he's always been that Boy Scout.
Yeah,
and they do call him a Boy Scout, I believe, a few times in the film.
Yeah,
just kind of, it's a real stab at. Well, not really a stab, but kind of that general idea that he is always this morally high character that's basically infallible in the cinematic universe. I can totally understand how you feel. It's almost tired. That, we need to see Cap's dark side. Like, you can't be, he can't be this superhuman, super soldier leader of the Avengers and not almost snap.
I mean, think about all the Cap movies. The first movie you like Cap the best because I mean Red Skull was pretty cool and then Bucky was pretty cool, but then he died and not really. But then in Winter Soldier, maybe we liked Bucky the best because Bucky was just a badass. Yeah. He was cool as shit, and there was also side characters a little bit and the whole Nick Fury thing, everything. And Cap was there. He was just kind of like the train moving down the tracks, like just progressing on for the story's sake. And in this one, he's kind of like the center focus, and then there's so much else going on. It's just like, all right, well, Cap's same thing as Winter Soldier. He's kind of there, going along for the ride. The end fight, though, with him and Tony was excellent. I thought
with
that
him
was,
him and Bucky and Cap.
Yeah, with Tony, Bucky and Cap. Yeah.
Yeah, that was again talking about the fight choreography. That
shit was like emotional. Yeah, I mean that shit towards the end was getting freaking dark, dude. You could just tell by the end. It's just like, holy fuck, they're beat. They almost fucking killed each other.
When Tony just says, "I don't care, he killed my mom." That just pulls the heartstrings. Like
I thought, the one scene I thought when he was climbing over that like stone thing, it's a short moment, but I was like, oh fuck, he looks fucking like menacing. He almost looks like a villain. I mean, he worked with villains in the comic. Obviously, kind of spoiler for the comic, but we're gonna talk about that too. Whatever. Mm-hmm. But he it was like, damn, like. But then you see both sides of it, like Captain America didn't tell him. That's kind of a dick move. That's a really dick move because that's his fucking parents, for Pete's sake. The other side, it's like, well, Captain or Robert Downey Jr.'s side, he fucking killed my parents. I mean, obviously he didn't really have time to think about it. It was just just like that, it just happened. But shit's crazy.
Yeah, that ending fight. Like you said, it's really emotionally powerful. The other fight scenes we see in this film, between when Hawkeye first shows up to fight Vision to rescue Scarlet Witch, and then the big fight at the airfield, those are all very, the scoring was very intense. The atmosphere was this is an action sequence. This is going to be very fast paced. But that fight with Cap and Bucky fighting Iron Man, it was very. There was very little sound besides just grunting and punching and
it was toned down.
Bucky and Cap trying to save each other from Tony, and again not really being able to tell who's the bad guy there. because both sides had such a strong argument, and then in that fight, you see Tony ready to kill both of them, and by the end of that fight, you see Cap ready to kill Tony.
Yeah, yeah. And even Zemo, when Zemo was talking at the end, like going over the monologue, it was all slow motion. They were punching each other. I thought that was really great too. Zemo, it was interesting how they went with Zemo in this movie. He didn't have his big purple hood or whatever he has.
No, I was definitely expecting something more elaborate.
But I mean, he could come back. You never really know. He could
they definitely left it open.
They could have like a whole villains reunion or Infinity War. We don't really know. And he could have his big purple thing. I don't know. But I like what they did with him. I thought he wasn't really like a main villain. He's kind of like another side character. But I thought he had a big part, especially towards the end, of like just. There are a couple of things contributing to the whole Civil War thing. The Accords, whatever the
Sokovia Accords.
That and then this guy trying to like fuck him up too. I mean,
it definitely. If I had any problems with this movie, it was the Marvel curse of their villains, and that. All the villains seem to be very expendable, and their stories seem to be very shallow. Like I was extremely hyped for Crossbones in this movie. I was hoping he was going to be a really big player in this movie in this fight against Cap, and within the first 25 minutes, he's dead.
Yeah,
it was really disappointing, especially that little teaser they gave us at the end of Winter Soldier, with him on the hospital gurney, and then you see the cross over his chest.
Bigger role.
It's we're gonna get Crossbones. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
and his fighting was really, really awesome. But then by the end, he's like, "I'm going to take you with me to Cap," and then blows himself up. Basically,
I feel like to me, it seemed like he was like kind of like the Shocker for Spider-Man. Like he's always that side villain that's just there. Like it's like, oh, Shocker, it's fucking shit, dude.
It was a shame that
like Shocker's
again, a Marvel villain just kind of got. Basically sidelined. I know I wasn't the only one that was excited for Crossbones. I'm not really that, I'm not the biggest fan of Crossbones, but I do know how cool of a character he is.
He's badass, yeah.
And how skilled. Like it was awesome watching him fight Cap and almost being on the same level of Cap as far as fighting in power against each other.
Yeah, I liked Crossbones. I mean, for what he was, I liked him. What else was there? Crossbones, talked about Zemo, Scarlet Witch, Vision. All right, let's move on to Black Panther, because Black Panther was obviously introduced him and kind of gave him his origin story in this. I liked how they kind of put him off as like kind of almost like a villain at the start. He was just out for revenge. He was very brutal. He was just like, fuck it. I hate Bucky. I'm just going to go kill him no matter what it takes. He doesn't really take a side per se until, they actually fight, but he's just kind of like doing his own thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely use Black Panther in this movie to really properly introduce the Wakandan people.
Yeah. To,
I guess, the cinematic universe, and especially with that last shot in the post credits. We can talk about more of that later, but with that post credits, you see they're in Wakanda. Yeah, I guess Cap's team is in Wakanda now, so it was definitely. They did a really good job with Black Panther of introducing him and making him a very strong character without making him just a plot exploit or, something to use exposition on. Yeah. Something just not a means to an end.
Yeah, and I really liked, you can tell this guy has a lot. I think in the comics he has more money than Iron Man does. Like he's loaded. You can see at the end with all of his technology and their like freaking cryogen freezing Bucky and all that. And this freaking whole suit's made out of, it's vibranium in this movie? I guess they can't use adamantium, but...
Yeah. Well, vibranium...
Well, that's actually in the comics, yeah.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, I'm not sure if they're going to be doing this with Wakanda in the actual Black Panther movie, but I do know that Wakanda is basically thriving off of a vibranium meteorite that crashed there a very long time ago, and they were able to harness that ore, create their own weapons from it, create the Black Panther suit from it.
We kind of saw that.
And so forth.
Did we see that in Age of Ultron? Was that Wakanda they were in?
They did take. I know Ultron acquires a lot of vibranium that was taken from Wakanda.
Okay.
I don't believe they actually go to Wakanda.
Okay, I know that they mentioned that. I didn't know if that. I remember they went to a place where, like, Scarlet Witch controls Hulk and all that. I guess that was somewhere else, but I think it was in Africa. I don't know. I don't remember. It's cool though. I mean, I really liked how his suit looked. It looked badass.
It was really, really awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm not really sure where they're gonna go. You know, here's what I was thinking. I'm assuming Captain America is going to be in the Black Panther movie because I think Chris Evans signed up for like 5 more movies or something. So I'm assuming that. Yeah, that's what I heard. It might be less now, but I'm assuming one of them's going to be that. Kind of like how Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in the Spider-Man. He got confirmed for that. I'm assuming Chris Evans and maybe Bucky if they unfreeze him there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could see that though. I want to see that'd be interesting where they go because we really knew nothing about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with a Wakandan, I guess, set movie with the Black Panther film, when's that coming out? 2017?
I think
2018.
Yeah.
With that, when are we getting Infinity Wars Part 1? That's 2018 as well, isn't it?
I think so.
That's first quarter, I think, or first half.
Yeah, I think so.
But, so at that point, where's this story going to be? Because, by that post-credit scene, we see Bucky getting frozen again for his own safety and everyone else's. We see Cap's team in Wakanda. Beautiful, by the way. It looks awesome. I can't wait to see a film set there.
For real. It's like Jungle Book type
But
shit.
by that point in 2018, I assume we'll already be done with the first part of Infinity Wars. So we'll probably already see the Avengers presumably team up again to face some cosmic threat, whether it be Thanos and his gauntlet.
We'll have Guardians too.
And we will have at least Star-Lord. I know he's been confirmed for Infinity Wars. I don't know about the rest of the Guardians just yet.
So what comes out next year? Guardians 2, Spider-Man. I'm missing one. Not Ant-Man.
No, we're not getting Ant-Man just yet.
Not Doctor Strange. That's this year. I don't know. Can't really think of it. Let's talk about Spider-Man too. Spider-Man was
there. It is.
There it is. Oh boy, Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man a lot in this movie. I know you're a huge Spider-Man fan. You read all. You've had the Ultimate series on pretty much all
Ultimate
of that.
Not the most favored among Marvel fans, but I love the Ultimate Spider-Man run.
Hey, it's a good run. I mean, I like how they did a lot of the humor. They got the humor spot on in this because of how he's a young kid and he's trying to relate with like all these adults fighting and everything, and he's just cracking jokes the whole time. Like that's Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
Like the one thing I didn't like about the Mark Webb movies, Amazing Spider-Man ones, like it was so serious and so like grounded and everything a lot of the times. I mean, he cracked jokes and he was kind of like this awkward kid. He's like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. Like he's kind of like a hipster. I don't know. Yeah,
with the Mark Webb films, like you said, Andrew Garfield did an amazing job as Spider-Man. I won't deny that, but he definitely, the direction they went with that Spider-Man was a little too cocky for what I think Peter Parker really is. And I think Tom Holland did an amazing job of, we only see him for 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
really.
It's hard to judge, yeah.
But in the time we see him, in his little apartment in Queens with his Aunt May, Marissa Tomei, oh my, what a lady. Amazing casting choice.
What happened yeah.
What we see there, we see a 15-year-old kid that can't tell anybody he's Spider-Man. He's uncomfortable. He's awkward. He acts like a 15-year-old, and Tom Holland did a great job of portraying that. Even when Stark tells Peter, "Hey, I know you're Spider-Man," or the Spiderling goes through
Spider Boy, yeah,
Spider Boy. Even when we see him reveal that to him, he doesn't just immediately like, okay, you got me, whatever, I'm Spider-Man. He's still an awkward kid that's just...
Shit, dude, I have homework to do.
I can't go to Germany. I have homework to do.
Yeah.
It was an awesome portrayal of what I think a 15-year-old right now in 2016 that is superpowered with Spider-Man powers.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's how they would be acting.
I think the costume looked pretty good. I didn't really like it was all CGI. I think my favorite costume is still... Amazing Spider-Man 2. Not the best movie.
That was one of the most.
But I thought they
accurate.
got that pretty close to the comics. I thought that looked really good. It looked really real too. I mean, there were some parts where it was obviously CGI in that movie, like when they're fighting with Electro or whatever. But I I still think that one looked like the best. This one, it was like kind of sleek. Kind of at the end, it kind of looked like it was like kind of like a mesh. Did you notice that a little bit?
I noticed it definitely harkened back to the old Amazing Spider-Man days back in the 60s with the a lot of black on the costume. That's something we haven't seen on really any of the Spider-Man costumes so far, is a lot of black decals.
Yeah. Which one was black? I feel like it was Spectacular Spider-Man. Had some black on it.
I know the Amazing Spider-Man, his first few designs were like we saw in the movie now, the small Spider-Man logo, the black decals.
Yeah. I feel that this would actually look really good with the Venom skin. If they had it without, like, not like in Spider-Man 3 where they had it like with the web designs and everything on it, where it was just straight black like it is in the comic. Yeah. I think this would look really good for that, man. I really do. If they do Venom and Homecoming, which I don't think they will, but
no, most likely not.
I mean,
that's a whole different discussion with Sony and their little Venom universe that has nothing to do with Spider-Man.
Are they still making that?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Venom and most likely Carnage.
What?
Completely unrelated to Spider-Man and any of the Marvel films.
Like, they have a whole Venom Carnage storyline, and they have Toxin in that, but
there's a whole universe of Spider-Man rogues that they could bring in. So I'm not necessarily worried about villains, but Venom will always be my number one.
Yeah, I agree. I like Carnage a lot, too. I read Maximum Carnage. I thought Maximum Carnage was, pretty good. I mean, it was just simple. They're trying to get the bad guys.
I definitely, I could see why Marvel wouldn't necessarily fight for a Carnage or Venom storyline, in that
you could yet, at least, yeah.
Yeah, you could tell, Spider-Man's only 15 in these movies right now, and you could definitely tell by his interactions it's still going to be a pretty lighthearted tone with the Spider-Man movies. I think that's kind of what they're going for with. You see this, we have this main storyline now with Civil War, definitely setting up a lot of darker storylines and consequences of superpowers and these global conflicts. But Spider-Man: Homecoming, I think, is going to be kind of a tone shift in the sense of, here's a kid in high school with superpowers and he happens to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Out of all the superheroes that you could be.
Oh shit! Yeah. I think it would be interesting if they got a villain that they never used. Like, I know they're trying to use Lizard in Amazing Spider-Man. Use something like, use Vulture or somebody.
Yeah,
or Chameleon.
Yeah, Vulture, Chameleon. There's, like I said, there's a lot of villains that you could put into a Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need, this is going to be Spider-Man's big debut. Like, this is going to be a standalone film into the Marvel Cinematic Universe we get next November, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
So, it needs to pick a villain that, the Vulture is amazing. Scorpion is amazing. Chameleon is amazing.
Scorpion they could do.
But you need a villain with a lot of meat to it. Even with the first Amazing Spider-Man film, the Lizard was an awesome choice. That entire storyline, it's really heartbreaking watching it. But it definitely felt like his entire plot, turn everyone into a lizard in New York.
That was stupid.
It definitely like the writing takes a dive in order just to introduce more Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's definitely being able to pick out what villain haven't they used before that they can really kind of flesh out a good Spider-Man story with.
They need to get the look right too, man. I'm telling you, because Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Rhino especially, like, what the fuck, like, mech suit
a
with,
giant
like,
mech
guns
suit
and everything. I thought Green Goblin looked alright. And I thought Electro looked pretty good, actually, too.
Green Goblin will be better than the skateboard monstrosity we got at the end of...
Oh, New Goblin. Oh, yeah.
New Goblin. That was bad.
Willem Dafoe was good, though.
Willem Dafoe was amazing. Yeah. And it was a crime that we only got him for one movie as Green Goblin.
Yeah. Yeah, Willem Dafoe, yeah. I mean, people complained it was like just a straight mask, but... I mean, a lot of the Spider-Man villains are hard to do, to be honest with you. Like let's go back to Scorpion. I mean, how would you, besides being like mutated, I guess he could be, or putting in the mech suit. But I mean, feel like people are tired of mech suits.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of ways you could go with this kind of universe they set up. We don't necessarily have mutated individuals. They can't say mutated individuals either because of the whole Fox and Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
So no one can really be mutated. So it could really just be a guy in a powered suit akin to Iron Man tech, something like that.
How disappointed would everybody be if the main villain was Shocker?
They don't even necessarily have to do a main villain. It could totally just be a Spider-Man story of here's this kid in high school, and maybe every 45 minutes or so in between, him being Peter Parker and him trying to hide being Spider-Man from whatever love interest they probably shoehorn into the story.
Oh God.
They could definitely have every now and then have him fight just a minor villain. Someone, have him fight Shocker.
Yeah.
Have him stop a bank robbery.
Yeah, with like Scorpion or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah. They could do, who was the guy's name? He made the robots, the Spider, I think they're Spider Slayers, was that called?
Spider Slayer. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I
think of the
can't
guy's
remember
name.
his name either.
That would be cool to do. They could do that pretty easily.
I think they definitely have to work more on establishing him in this massive universe that they've made. It's on a cosmic, galactic scale.
Yeah.
And, we just had this, he was just part of one of the biggest superhero fights
ever
to go down in the, this entire movie universe.
Probably the biggest, honest. I mean,
yeah. As of right now, that was not collateral damage wise, but that fight was.
It was nuts.
It had a lot of weight to it.
Yeah.
The big one at the airfield.
Oh yeah.
He was there, and I mean, you could tell they kind of threw Spider-Man in at the very end, just kind of.
Well, yeah.
Let's do like one or two reshoots and then CGI him swinging on a web every now and then.
I remember hearing they went back and they shot, because they just got approval from Sony, I guess, and they went back and reshot a lot of the Spider-Man like sequences. And you could definitely tell, because when like Tony Stark's like, oh yeah, I know somebody, and they shoot the Queens. It's a whole separate scene.
Yeah.
Whole different set and everything. And I guess Spider-Man, because he was mostly CGI, I guess it was easy to put in there and stuff. So, I mean, I liked it. I thought they did it really well. I didn't think it was like just one scene, like separate. He was integrated into the whole fight and everything.
Yeah, and that was one thing I thought was a little cheeky by the marketing was I didn't expect him to be part of that big fight at the end. I expected that little fight scene with him and Winter Soldier and Falcon to be really his only little fight scene, just kind of a teaser, here's what you get to look forward to next year.
Yeah.
And instead, we got him in the main battle.
Yeah.
He was fighting Ant-Man. He was fighting Captain America. He was swinging around. He was being Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, and people know who Spider-Man is, too. Like Black Panther, they actually had to establish kind of an origin story in
and they did a great job.
They did a really good job
saying,
with that.
Here's what he had to do now that his father died. And now he's king, and now he's Black Panther.
He got a lot of character, like even towards the end, he's like, "No, I'm not going to kill you."
Yeah.
Or he's like done like I don't know, getting like revenge or something. He's really evolved. It's amazing how they did that throughout the whole movie, to be honest.
Yeah, the Russo brothers again, they did a really good job with making sure no character got too much time to kind of explore their own selves, their own stories. I'd say. Yeah,
I thought. Yeah. All right, let's talk about what's next, because where do we go from here? I mean, everybody kind of landed on a low note here. I mean, Tony Stark and Captain America are still friends and everything. Like half of the Avengers, if not more, are in jail. I guess they're being broken out by now.
Yeah.
But how the hell they're going to get there?
I'm assuming pretty much everyone that was on Cap's team is in Wakanda now.
Yeah, we have to assume. I mean, they could do like a whole new Avengers thing, I guess. Yeah,
they could do like the new Avengers, and then
Cap goes into hiding. They can make it like Stephen Strange, Black Panther.
Man, Doctor Strange is going to be. I think that's going to be the next tone shift in the universe, because not only is it's so much mysticism and magic, and just Doctor Strange has so much raw power, but like he can manipulate so much. Like I'm not sure if it's necessarily more powerful than, say, Scarlet Witch or what she can do, but like, he's being trained by the Eternal One.
Yeah.
It's gonna. I hope the movie isn't too much of an origin story, although we're probably gonna need that because not a lot of people are familiar with Doctor Strange.
I'm glad he's getting his own movie too. Like Black Panther, they could do in here, but Doctor Strange is like as you see from the trailer, it's a whole different thing. It's like dimensions and everything. I have no idea what that movie's going to be about.
Trailers are definitely Inception-like.
It looks crazy, man. Like I don't know what to expect. I was just like, the first time I saw it, I was like, all right, Doctor Strange trailer. I don't know much about him. I was just like, what? Like I had like a neutral opinion about it. I don't really know what to think of it. It's just,
And you know what? Everyone had the same thought when Guardians was first announced.
yeah.
Everyone was like, this movie's probably not going to do that great. They're probably just using it to build up a story that isn't, Captain America and Iron Man, and end up being one of the best Marvel movies.
They have a great cast in Guardians, too.
Mhm.
That helped a lot. Doctor Strange, I mean, they have Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch. I guess, was he in Doctor Who?
He's Sherlock right now. That's
Okay.
one of the BBC shows.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's also been in a handful of other films
He was
that
Star
I don't
Trek.
care for.
That's a certain
He was
character.
Khan. Spoiler alert if you
Spoiler
haven't
alert
seen
for-
Into the
yeah.
Darkness.
Yeah, Into Darkness. That comes out this year in Star Trek.
The next Star Trek
That trailer was- that
Planet
trailer was-
Express.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't watch Star Trek that
It was a
often.
Futurama reference
Was
for
it?
anyone.
I don't.
Planet Express.
Somebody somewhere will get that.
It's pathetic. Someone somewhere will get that.
A lot of people get that.
Someone somewhere that has watched one of the most popular animated sitcoms
I
ever.
haven't watched much Futurama, unfortunately. I like it, but I just haven't watched it that much.
Shame.
Yeah, but so Doctor Strange, yeah. Guardians 2. What
One
can
year.
they do with Guardians 2?
They can do a lot.
I mean, just I wanted this in the beginning, or at the end of the first Guardian. I wanted them to bring in Nova, like not
Nova,
the Nova, like
yeah.
the actual Nova. Because here's what I thought would be cool if it was like the fall, because the Nova Corps was just dying. They're just dying
Mhm.
off, and if they just had Nova there, or they showed him like I don't know, she was like the last man standing.
Mhm.
And like the rest of everybody else was just like dead, and they just kind of like teased that for the next movie.
Yeah, like he could have been the last weapon
Yeah.
for the Nova Corps.
I thought that would be awesome. Nova's one of my favorite
He is really cool.
Marvel
And
characters, dude.
Nova's like the Blue Beetle of
DC.
of Marvel, with the fact
Yeah.
that Nova has all this gear, he has all this equipment, but he doesn't know the full extent of his powers.
Yeah,
And I think that could definitely be a really cool storyline for the Guardians to kind of explore. And I know they've already said, we're going to be exploring more Peter Quill's parentage
Yeah,
and
I
who his
guess.
dad is.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they could make way for something involving Nova, or introducing Nova. I think he'd be
he'd be a good side character, man.
an awesome part, especially with you got to realize all these characters that are getting introduced over the next couple of years, they're all pretty much going to be on that one battlefield in the middle of space fighting Thanos
Yeah,
come Avengers Infinity War Part 2
yeah,
in 2019.
yeah. I don't know. That's another thing. Infinity War. How are they gonna do that with like half the characters in space and everything?
I'm willing to bet a lot of build-up. I mean, they've been teasing Thanos for...
I mean, where are they gonna fight at? On Earth, I guess, or like
well,
it's gonna be weird.
yeah, because this kind of universe that they've built is not the same universe that the original Infinity Gauntlet that they're kind of teasing has built upon.
Mm-hmm.
He snaps his fingers, kills half of the galaxy's population just to impress Death, literal Death, Lady
Yeah.
Death. But she hasn't been established as anything in this universe because a lot of characters don't really die.
Yeah,
They haven't explored much of that's
I guess they could do that in Thor, Ragnarok.
they could.
Because that's like the whole. What was it? It's like, isn't that like what is it, Asgard? Is that what it's called?
Hmm
That like
That's one of the 7 or 9 realms. I believe 9 realms.
Yeah, one of those two. I mean, they could explore that right there. That's gonna have Hulk in it too.
They've described it as almost like a buddy cop
That's gonna
movie,
be weird.
which is going to be very weird.
Yeah, they have. What they do? A Planet Hulk and everything. That'd be.
Which
nice.
it brings me akin to the animated film that came out a few years ago, Thor versus the Hulk,
Yeah.
which had a really cool premise to it that they could definitely do in Ragnarok, which was Loki switching minds with Banner and basically taking over the Hulk while Banner was stuck in Loki's body.
Shit.
So I could definitely see that being maybe the big battle at the end or in the beginning
That'd be
to
interesting.
kind of set up this story.
Yeah, I think. I'm liking how they'd have like these kind of like hybrid movies. Like Thor's gonna have Hulk in it. Spider-Man's gonna have
Mhm.
Iron Man in it. Civil War had like everybody in it.
Everyone. Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, we're going to assume Black Panther has Captain America in it because
Mhm.
they established all their people. Now they're establishing new people, and they're expanding on the other characters. Because the first two Thor movies, I mean, I like the first Thor. Thor 2 is
Yeah, I mean they were
Okay.
slow builds. You have to watch them a few times to
Yeah.
respect what they did for the cinematic universe.
I didn't really like the whole Back on Earth with like Natalie Portman and all that. I thought that was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, she won't be in Ragnarok, so
that's,
you can
that's good.
thank your stars for that.
That's good then. They're gonna focus more on the whole
Mhm.
space. That's gonna be building up. I feel like to a lot of Infinity War.
Yeah, and especially with that the dream sequence we got in Age of Ultron with the Infinity Gems and coming together to form the Gauntlet,
Yeah.
the Infinity Gauntlet. I think we're going to be exploring a little bit more of that in both Ragnarok and probably Guardians. I'm on the bet.
Guardians, yeah, that's a
I'm on
huge
the bet
opportunity.
probably Quill's dad, who I'm on the bet is some form of royalty or someone very important. He's probably going to know more about the Infinity Stones and Thanos, or Gamora is going to talk more about her father being Thanos.
Yeah.
And they're going to kind of develop that a little bit more. And then Ragnarok might be that final kind of icing on the cake, like, here it is right before the Infinity War start.
Everything's going to shit.
Everything's probably going to go to shit. Thor and Banner are probably going to head back to Earth. We might see them reunite with the Avengers or the new Avengers, whatever
that could
team.
be like the after credits.
Yeah, maybe during the after credits, or see them leave to go see them, so that the beginning of Infinity Wars isn't kind of wasting too much time reuniting characters.
I heard a couple days ago. I think they're going to change the titles for Infinity War.
Really?
It's not going to be part 1 and 2. I think it's going to be Infinity War something something blah blah.
Okay.
So it's going to be like actually 2 separate movies instead of like what kind of one build up. You know how like in Harry Potter the last 2 was separated into 2 parts.
Yeah.
And the first one was just like all build up to like through the woods like the whole time.
Yeah.
The second one was a big fight. I feel like they're actually going to do. It's directed by Russo Bros too. So
yeah.
I feel like they're going. I feel like they're going to get it. I feel like they're going to nail it, dude. It's going to be. Cannot wait for it. Yeah.
Yeah. With every character that we've had so far, and I'm not sure if Spider-Man will be part of the Infinity Wars. Again, 15-year-old kid, and spoilers if you haven't read the original Infinity Gauntlet back way back. I think the early '90s, late '80s. That run came out. Spider-Man does get killed. Iron Man does get killed. Pretty much all the characters that we see in the Avengers right now, they do die during that fight. Of course, they are resurrected by the end by Nebula, Thanos' other daughter.
Oh, yeah.
She does take over the gauntlet for a second, revive everybody. But I think with all these characters that we're seeing now and all the characters that we're probably hoping to see within Guardians, and maybe Black Panther will introduce maybe some new villains or some new characters, we're going to see, hopefully by maybe the end of part 1, a big fight with maybe not Thanos necessarily. They're probably going to save that, like that money shot, for the most of part 2.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see a lot of maybe a galactic scale kind of fight between, Guardians, Avengers, and then all these villains that they've introduced so far that are still viable to fight.
Yeah.
And then by, the end of that, beginning of part 2, we have the big picture. We have Thanos, full gauntlet, using the gauntlet, becoming basically omnipotent.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I feel like they could bring back a lot of villains. Like they could bring back the whole Dark Elf army, I guess, from Thor. Loki is obviously going to be back. He's one of the fan favorites.
Like those 9 realms, everything that Thor and the Asgardians have been fighting, they're still. It's not like they're extinct and gone away. And we'll probably see them in Ragnarok, but we're probably definitely going to see something like that.
Yeah.
In the Infinity Wars movies.
What if Peter Quill's dad was like one of the leaders of one of the realms?
That would be really
cool. That'd be interesting how they did that, and they had like they kind of have like a conflict with like Asgard or something. I don't know.
If they could find the one thing I don't want out of that is kind of shoehorning in, like, okay, we got lazy. We know these guys have to eventually meet up and fight Thanos, or they have to meet up and fight someone together. So here you go. They're connected. Deal with it. I want it done kind of in a subtle kind of transition.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't think I feel like shoehorning Peter Quill into anything but Infinity War, because I feel like Infinity War they can put any of the Guardians in. I'd be fine with it because it's pretty much everybody. I mean, it's not just
Drax especially has to be there. His family was killed by Thanos. Yeah. And Gamora is Thanos' daughter.
I love Drax. Drax is fun. I think Drax is my favorite.
Drax
character in
is it Dave Bautista?
that. Yeah.
He used to be a pro wrestler.
He's like WWE
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
The Batista bomb.
The Batista bomb.
Oh, good old days.
Dude. That guy's a tank. He was in James Bond
Really?
too. The new James
Was
Bond.
he? I haven't seen the new James Bond yet.
He was a tank in that too.
That's awesome.
He was like the typical big like bad guy,
Yeah,
you know? He
big
was just
bad.
that guy. Yeah. It was crazy. But yeah, dude, if you're in Infinity War, it's gonna be something else.
And they've done, and again coming back to what Civil War was, in the sense of, it wasn't too big. It wasn't like the world is gonna end, Thanos is coming, get ready. It was people are trying to control superheroes, and then the superheroes fought each other, and
yeah.
it set up these own personal stories and these own personal conflicts.
Mhm.
That it was awesome. It was an awesome film, and it didn't drastically change anything
Yeah.
for the good.
Yeah.
It's not like the movie didn't do anything for these characters. It most definitely did.
They've been teasing Thanos for a while now too.
Surprisingly, we didn't get. I was absolutely expecting a Thanos tease at the end credits.
Yeah, you'd
We
think.
didn't.
I guess they're focusing more on the other films now. You know, we'll probably get another one. I'm assuming Thanos is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Probably he actually had speaking roles in the first
Yeah.
one.
That's Josh Brolin, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Probably at the end of Doctor Strange, because he's in all the
Yeah.
trippy space type shit.
Yeah, Doctor Strange. He can harness a lot of power.
Yeah.
He even says, talking about Civil War, in the Civil War arc that came out back in 06, I think it was 06.
Yeah.
He basically says he's in his Sanctum Sanctorum, basically saying with a snap of my fingers and a few words, I could stop all of this from happening.
Yeah.
He has the power to just completely stop all of it.
That guy's crazy.
But he
dude.
knows that for the evolution of superheroes and what they mean to the rest of the world, he has to let it go.
Yeah, man.
So he just meditates until all of it blows over and he has no part in Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering with Doctor Strange, are we going to get something like that? Are we going to get, by the end of the film, basically him kind of acknowledging, okay, there's a Civil War going on,
Could
or
be
it
like
did.
a prequel, yeah.
Yeah, because we
Be
don't know
like-
really when this movie's taking place. Probably.
Well, can he see into the future? I would assume so. I don't know.
I'm not sure if he can see into the future.
It could be like after, like Meet to Win. It could be like
He's a
oh,
very
shit.
powerful sorcerer.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not sure of his visionary abilities.
I don't know. I just know he's There's definitely gonna be an Infinity Stone. You have to assume there's gonna be an Infinity Stone in that movie too.
Well, how many Infinity Stones have been acknowledged and seen so far?
We got Loki's staff.
Mm-hmm. Which is currently in Vision's head, right? Or is that a different stone?
Yes. Yeah, because they said that.
Mhm.
Tesseract.
Tesseract was
The orb. Was the red one? I think.
the Aether from Dark World, I believe, was the power of an Infinity Stone.
Okay.
And then the purple one that the Collector had, that was, I believe, the Destruction Stone.
Yeah, that was destruction. Yeah.
And that accounts for 4 out of the 5. Yes, 5, I believe.
Is there
there
5? I thought there was like. Well,
It's 5 or 6.
I want. Yeah.
Trying to think. I think it's the mind, power, soul, space, and time.
And destruction.
And destruction, so it might be 6. So we have, I guess, we're probably most definitely forgetting some that have been mentioned.
I would assume one for every finger, then one in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
I'm trying to remember the layout of the gauntlet right now, and it's escaping me.
I know
The
it's just
big
shiny,
golden glove.
shiny with a bunch of gems in
Mhm.
it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's Infinity War. 2 years.
2 years, and then we're gonna get.
Shit's gonna go down.
It's crazy because all this stuff that's getting built up in all these films.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna make way. It's gonna eventually hit all these conflicts that characters are having with each other
It's gonna, yeah.
on a galactic scale. What's happening? It's all gonna meet at like this tipping point, and then what happens after that?
We don't know.
We might be getting Inhumans afterwards.
Yeah, they just pulled that release date.
Yeah, they just pulled that and pushed it back. I
I
guess
guess-
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been
I
exploring
don't,
that.
yeah, I don't
quite
watch
a
Agents
bit
of the Shield, but
with the Secret Warriors. Although I haven't been watching this season. It's very heavy from what I know.
I wish I would do a lot of the Daredevil characters. I have not finished season 2.
I was definitely hoping for at least a mention of Jessica Jones or Daredevil or Luke Cage.
Punisher's a big part of Civil War in the comics.
He is.
Yeah,
he saves Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I thought they were going to do more Spider-Man, but I guess considering the circumstances, they couldn't really.
Yeah, like I said, I was surprised we got this much.
I thought he
was
going to have his like regular Spider-Man costume, and then Tony Stark gave him like a tech one, but he actually gives him like his whole.
Yeah, he gives him the full deal,
just like the original suit. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they clean it up a little bit for Homecoming. I think.
Yeah,
I think it won't look as textured as everyone else's costume. You can tell it was kind of thrown together, which to no one's fault.
Yeah.
They had such little time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want to wrap it up here, Connor?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on. Or thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was really nice having you on. Thank everyone for listening.
Thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
The show. And tune in next weekend for another review. I'm not sure what it's going to be about yet.
Ooh, mystery.
We'll see what's coming out. So until next time, thank you for listening, guys, and I'll see you later.
Rated M for movies.